Kindness is widely regarded as one of the most admirable human virtues. Across cultures, religions, and moral philosophies, kindness is praised as a foundation of ethical behavior and social harmony. Psychologically, kindness is often associated with positive outcomes such as happiness, emotional well-being, social bonding, and improved mental health. Numerous studies in positive psychology highlight the benefits of kind behavior, suggesting that helping others enhances self-esteem, reduces stress, and promotes life satisfaction. However, kindness is not an entirely one-dimensional trait with exclusively positive consequences. Like any psychological behavior or personality tendency, kindness can have side effects, some subtle, others significant depending on context, intensity, motivation, and individual psychological makeup. Excessive, unbalanced, or misdirected kindness may lead to emotional exhaustion, boundary erosion, dependency, resentment, or even manipulation. In some cases, kindness can paradoxically harm both the giver and the receiver. This essay explores the psychological side effects of kindness from a nuanced and critical perspective. Rather than undermining kindness as a value, the aim is to understand its complexities and psychological costs when practiced without self-awareness or balance. Drawing from psychological theories, empirical research, and real-life behavioral patterns, this paper examines how kindness influences mental health, identity, relationships, power dynamics, and emotional regulation. Ultimately, the discussion emphasizes the importance of healthy kindness, grounded in self-respect, boundaries, and psychological insight, understanding kindness from a psychological perspective. From a psychological standpoint, kindness can be defined as a prosocial behavior motivated by empathy, compassion, or moral values intended to benefit others. It includes actions such as helping, sharing, comforting, forgiving, and supporting. Kindness may be spontaneous or deliberate, emotional or rational, altruistic or reciprocal. Psychologists distinguish between different forms of kindness. Altruistic kindness, helping others with no expectation of reward. Reciprocal kindness, kindness given with an implicit expectation of return. Compassionate kindness, driven by empathy and emotional concern. Normative kindness, driven by social norms or moral obligation. Self-sacrificial kindness, prioritizing others at one's own expense. While all these forms can be psychologically beneficial in moderation, problems arise when kindness becomes compulsive, externally driven, or disconnected from self-care. Positive psychological effects of kindness. Brief overview. Before examining side effects, it is important to acknowledge that kindness does have well-documented psychological benefits, including increased happiness and life satisfaction, reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety, strengthened social connections, enhanced sense of purpose and meaning, activation of reward systems in the brain, dopamine and oxytocin release. However, the presence of benefits does not negate the existence of costs. Psychological side effects often emerge when kindness is excessive, chronic, or poorly regulated. Emotional exhaustion and compassion fatigue. One of the most significant psychological side effects of kindness is emotional exhaustion, particularly in individuals who are consistently caring, empathetic, and self-sacrificing. This phenomenon is commonly referred to as compassion fatigue. What is compassion fatigue? Compassion fatigue occurs when individuals are repeatedly exposed to others' emotional pain and continuously respond with care and support without sufficient recovery. It is common among caregivers, therapists, healthcare workers, teachers, and family members in supportive roles. Symptoms include emotional numbness, chronic tiredness, irritability, reduced empathy, feelings of helplessness or hopelessness. Ironically, individuals most prone to compassion fatigue are often the kindest and most empathetic. Psychological mechanism: empathy requires emotional energy. When kindness is driven by deep emotional involvement without boundaries, the nervous system remains in a prolonged state of emotional arousal. Over time, this depletes psychological resources, leading to burnout, loss of personal boundaries. Excessive kindness can weaken psychological boundaries, the mental and emotional limits that define where one person ends and another begins. Boundary erosion. People who struggle to say no, avoid conflict, or fear disappointing others may use kindness as a coping mechanism. Over time, this leads to difficulty asserting needs, Guilt when prioritizing oneself over commitment, feeling responsible for others' emotions psychologically. Boundary loss is linked to codependency, a pattern in which self-worth becomes tied to helping or pleasing others. Identity confusion. When kindness becomes central to identity, I am only valuable if I am helpful. Individuals may lose a sense of self independent of others' needs. This can result in low self-esteem, anxiety, fear of abandonment, emotional dependence, resentment, and suppressed anger. Another major psychological side effect of kindness is resentment, especially when kindness is not reciprocated or appreciated. The kindness-resentment paradox. Many people engage in kind behavior while suppressing their own needs. Initially, this suppression feels virtuous. Over time, however, unmet needs transform into frustration, passive-aggressive behavior, emotional withdrawal, internalized anger. Because kind people often believe anger is morally wrong, they may repress it. Psychologically, repressed anger does not disappear. It manifests as stress, depression, or psychosomatic symptoms, increased vulnerability to exploitation. Kind individuals are statistically more likely to be taken advantage of, particularly in environments with power imbalances or low accountability. Psychological factors. 1. High empathy and a desire for harmony can reduce suspicion and discourage confrontation, while moral identity may inhibit self-protection. 2. Manipulative individuals may exploit kindness through guilt, emotional pressure, or false dependency, leading to learned helplessness, cynicism, loss of trust, and emotional trauma. 3. Unguarded kindness increases vulnerability to exploitation, though it does not cause it, for kindness can negatively affect both the giver and receiver by creating dependency and reducing autonomy. 5. Excessive help or rescuing behavior can undermine others' self-efficacy, reduce motivation, and create emotional dependence. 6. Kindness driven by guilt or moral pressure can lead to anxiety disorders, perfectionism, and chronic stress. 7. Kindness used as a social mask can suppress disagreement, negative emotions, and authentic opinions, leading to emotional numbness, identity conflict, and depression. 8. Asymmetrical kindness can reinforce power imbalances, causing the giver to feel superior or burdened and the receiver to feel inferior or indebted. 9. Cultural and social conditioning influence the psychological side effects of kindness, with women often experiencing higher emotional labor and men suppressing kindness to conform to norms of toughness. 10. Self-compassion, involving self-kindness, mindfulness, and recognition of shared humanity, is crucial to balance kindness and protect against its negative side effects. 11. Healthy kindness is freely chosen, balanced with self-care, boundaried, and empowering, while unhealthy kindness is driven by fear or guilt, self-erasing, compulsive, and resentment-producing. Conclusion. Kindness is a powerful psychological force with the capacity to heal, connect, and uplift. Yet when practiced without awareness, boundaries, or self-compassion, it can carry significant psychological side effects. Emotional exhaustion, resentment, exploitation, loss of identity, guilt, and dependency are not failures of kindness itself, but consequences of imbalance. Understanding the psychology of kindness allows individuals to practice it more sustainably and authentically. True kindness does not require self-destruction, nor does it demand constant sacrifice. Psychologically healthy, kindness respects both the needs of others and the dignity of the self. In a world that urgently needs compassion, the goal should not be less kindness, but wiser kindness.